Well, all right. So I should have this. I was gonna have this as a surprise. So, oh well. Too bad for that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekend. Happy post Valentine's Day. Let me just make sure my levels are good. I'm on two platforms right now. I'm on TikTok as well as on Beam. So if you want to get the screen share of this, you can get that there. So we're going to do a couple of things today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekend. I'm your host, April O'Neill. Uh, hey. How's it going? So, oh my gosh. Am I good? I'm going to use the hydronics of my chair and go down a bit. There we go. Yeah, there. Love that. Okay, so I hope you guys are well. I'm going to be doing, I'm going to give you guys some frame of reference as to the character I'm playing tonight in cosplay, because April O'Neill is a big reason why I even moved to Toronto in the first place. And in my 3 fights in the first, oh my gosh, let's go Canada. Oh my gosh, hockey was such a big part of my life when I was growing up in Winnipeg. I dated a guy who used to play for the WHL. So it's funny. I remember one Valentine's, he came with this like lip busted because he got into a fight because he was a defense. So that's all, like, I guess the trials and tribulations of being a girlfriend of someone who plays hockey. I have also I was a personal trainer in Toronto, downtown for a long time, and I remember personal training this girl who apparently was the mistress of one of the hockey players of the Toronto Maple Leafs here. So it was just like, ooh, that's spicy. He was apparently from like Finland or somewhere, and she looked like a carbon copy of his mistress. But like all the secrets that you get to know as personal trainers, I suppose you end up being like a therapist as well. I've trained very many ladies in my long career as being a personal trainer. I do just to let you guys know, I do fitness stuff, right? So I do programming and like diet and all that kind of stuff, because even when I was working at the hospital, it was primarily in diabetes. And if you guys are not familiar with diabetes, it all deals with blood sugar, and people are not also aware that diabetes is primarily a hormonal disease. And I have a very special interest in hormones and neurotransmitters, because that's literally how your body communicates with itself. And if we look at something like stories like Dune, what seems like magic is really just very precise control over your endocrine system, right? So there's this beautiful scene in Dune, if you've read the books, where Leto Atreides, so Paul's son, in the this is like Messiah stuff, where he turns into that big sandworm. So he merges with all the different sand trout, right? And so there's this process that happens as the sand trout adhere to his body. He starts to release these hormones, and so he's able to feel the nuance in his his glands and his endocrine systems and his bloodstream, just to modulate everything, just so that he can correctly interface with the sandworms. And so I believe in every fictional tale, no matter how fantastical, there is a tell of truth in them, right? That's why they resonate with us. It's why we feel so crazy in the world today, right? Because we have news anchors that are supposed to be anchoring in the truth, the reality, right? And they have been proven to be kind of not really very trustworthy, or there's all this drama involved with them as well, because everything has just become a show. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a personal story. I'm playing as April O'Neill tonight, a 1987 version of April O'Neill from the TV show, because I was born in 1985. I'm turning 40 this year. It's a big year for me. But I moved, so I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm a prairie girl. I'm a prairie girl at heart. I will always be a prairie girl. Like, I grew up very like sheltered, all girls, Catholic school, all that kind of stuff. But regardless, I was kind of I don't want to call myself a tomboy. I was a girly girl, but I had a lot of guy friends, and so I played video games like Halo, and me and my sister had like an N64. My best friend Laura had two older brothers, so we loved movies like The Crow, and I loved Highlander. You know that late night Highlander with like Duncan MacLeod, like all those like weird shows like that. I like that's my childhood, baby. And so, when you go through really hard times in your life, you kind of go back to what has given you comfort in this life, and you just think back to like times with your friends, in the basements, hanging out, and laughing over silly jokes that are just inside jokes and like really make no sense to anyone else but you and your friends. So I really have such nostalgia for those times. And April O'Neil herself, she was kind of like my first girl crush when I was growing up watching the Ninja Turtles, because I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be April O'Neil, because she gets to know all the secrets of the turtles, gets to go on these cool adventures, like, and Casey Jones is pretty cute too, right? So, all of that kind of stuff is like stuff that imprints you as a kid, and then as you grow up and you realize like, what's the meaning of all of this? It's hey, Squishy the Seal. Speaking of imagination and storytelling, yes, it's all about these stories telling like parables or fables. There's a deeper truth behind like the story that is like on the surface. And so with April O'Neil, I was born in April, so I look at all of these tells as like little clues in the game of life, right? And they're only going to make sense to you, and the only reason why it would matter is that it matters to you. So initially today, I was going to do a Batgirl cosplay, and I was going to be doing a members only, subscribers only read of The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. And I read it actually, and that, I don't know if you guys have ever read Alan Moore's stuff, but it's heavy, especially where it comes to Barbara Gordon. And I hadn't actually read The Killing Joke, right? I had only watched the animated version of it, and of course the animated, like, speaking of animated version, I'm playing like teenage, oh yes, and Lil Yoshi Fruit. Hi, you little, oh, I love your name so much. I used to love playing as Yoshi in Mario Kart, right? Who is your favorite Mario Kart player? We should play online, you guys, all of us play Mario Kart. And that's part of the show today. I'm going to talk about gaming and why that matters in terms of modeling reality and what's coming in the cosmos. Because the topic of today, I want to keep us focused today in class, my friends, as we learn about magic, is like the cosmic clock, right? And I bring this up just because, oh yes, oh, and Lil Yoshi Fruit, I hope you're well. What flags is that a Greek flag in your name? I love Greek myth, and I'm gonna get into that as well, why that will relate as well. Hey Superman, how's it going? So Supergirl's tired. I've been working on some new Supergirl cosplays, so, and Power Girl, and hey, oh hi Mr. Top Ramen. I'm April today, but Phoenix is I will always be Phoenix. Phoenix lives in all of my cosplays. I have a very special relationship with Phoenix, just based on my own astrology chart, and so we will talk a little bit about astrology today. I want you guys to realize that the reason why I do cosplay is like almost like this way of like tricking you into paying attention to maybe a deeper message. How like teachers, to make things fun, they would bring in like a movie that would have to do with like what you're talking about in class, just because that was much more interesting. And they would like roll in the TV and like you'd watch it, or like you'd watch like the Odyssey. Like I got to watch Star Wars in like grade 11 because it was the hero's journey, right? And so so all of that stuff, like what is it all for, right? What are these stories if not for like, okay, there's entertainment and they're funny and all that, but there are deeper parables within them, right? Like it seems so simple, right? Things like when to do the right thing, I had a very special relationship with Phoenix also. Ooh, Superman, indeed. Oh, yes. Oh, actually, you guys, I just started watching, thanks to my hubby for this, watching the show Krypton. And it's about Superman's grandfather on Krypton and Brainiac's trying to come and like collect Kandor. So I hadn't watched Krypton before, but I was getting all like geeked out because I love space, you guys, you know, like the stars. And growing up in the prairies, I was very blessed to be able to just go into the backyard and look up and, you know, see a whole blanket of stars. And being in Toronto, and April O'Neil's a big reason why I moved out to Toronto. You can't really see the stars, too much light pollution. I did get a message from the cosmos when I last visited Winnipeg, which was that, you know, even if you can't see the stars, you should still look up because they're still there, right? It's like how we perceive energies, how you like know. I used to be able to tell when I used to work at this gym downtown Toronto when my hubby would enter the room because it was like way in the basement. So, but like, and we had these escalators coming down, but like I could just have this like sense of like, ooh, I know he's in the building because I could feel the energy shift. And I can feel that with just certain people, right? Your little spidey senses and all of those kinds of things that we have as like human beings, which just like anything else, like your muscles take practice and movement, and all of those things do need to be modeled and mapped out. And I think in stories, it's just a more fun way, like a gamified way for us to learn lessons in like human school or like earth school or whatever you want to call it. But school shouldn't be like institutionalized. And I think that this is this balance between things like spirituality and religion and like institutions like universities and like education itself, and then things like science and, you know, you just discovering the world and practicing the scientific method. There are long one for you. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to talk to you guys about April O'Neil, why I love her so much. Just give a little ode to Miss April because she's a cool character. And I think what I want you guys to kind of recognize in your own life, in your own movie, you get to choose. You get to choose how fun it is. Don't let people tell you what kind of movie you're in, right? Like don't let them make it a horror when it's not. You know, sometimes it can feel like we're like not in control, and I think we've all been there. Or perhaps we've gone on like this little side quest, and this is why I like video games, because video games are a very unique way by which to tell a story. And I have some nostalgia locked in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because the old airport in Winnipeg looked totally different than the new airport now, right? It was like way back where you could go right up to the gate to the airport, right? Like you can go like right up to it. Here it's like you're so far back, like you have to go through like security and then you're in the gates. But I mean the old airport. So this old airport in Winnipeg, on the second floor they had like this little mini arcade, and they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so Soul and Fire, oh hi, and thanks for bringing great vibes in the chat. I so appreciate the support in all the ways, right? It's only been very recently, you guys, that I've like fully stepped into me being like, I'm very intuitive. I can kind of see the future in some regards. And also like back in Winnipeg, I'm responsible for a lot of marriages, you guys. I'm kind of a matchmaker. I'm really good at like setting people up. And you know why? It's because I can see people. I don't know. I haven't met anyone that I don't like, unless you're like a dick. In which case, I'm not nice at all. But I think it's just one of those things that if you share certain like stories in common, you can get along and talk about things. Like if you both love Star Wars, you get along on that level. You can share like, I love this character and I love this character. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is such a wonderful bonding experience, right? Because up on the second floor was this arcade game with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so whenever we had family members, or like my granny would come and visit, or like she would go off to like visit South Africa, me and my sister just have these memories of like playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the arcade, using up all the quarters, begging my mom, like, what are you guys doing? I don't know what you're doing. Like, who cares? You don't understand. This is before we got a console. Stanley, oh my gosh, I love that. Nice to see you as well. You guys, I can't thank you so much for also, like, you guys in the live. I'm doing this both on Beam, and if you guys aren't familiar with Beam, Beam's is like different kind of streaming platform as well, but it's so I can show presentations. But I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to do a gaming stream later as April at some point, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because you can still play. I played Shredder's Revenge with my sister recently, and it was a lot of fun. And I used to play as Leonardo because I used to love Leonardo as my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I don't know who your favorite is. Please do drop in the comments. I think that, like, you know, like those personality quizzes, like, what does that tell you who your favorite turtle is? Drop in your chat who your favorite turtle is. My initial favorite turtle was Leo. My favorite turtle now is Michelangelo. Because I had an affinity when I was growing up to love the leader of the pack, right? The captain of the ship. This concept of being a leader and making hard decisions, and the courage of making hard calls, and like standing behind those hard calls and taking responsibility of your team. Like, I don't know, to me that's super hot. Like, that, having integrity. Like, other women want like all these other things. I'm like, no, a man with like integrity and honesty. And I'm so blessed that I married a man who has those things, right? And my women, my ladies that I'm friends with, I try to counsel them in such a way that it's like, who do you want to be your player two in the game of life? Someone who has your back, not someone who's gonna like not know what's going on and like run in the other direction. And Mr. Wink, thank you for the heart me. Oh yeah, I agree, great username. I am April. So think of it this way. I'm gonna do a little bit of a read from this crossover. I think I started reading it with you guys earlier on, and then you guys, the whole TikTok ban thing happened, and we all had to, like, I was like, wow, I need to make sure that I'm not stuck on one platform. And so I've been also organizing and trying to catalog all of my previous reads, and then I've also realized that some need to be redone because of how I've read them. Because I don't know if you guys realize with comics is that every panel is uniquely different, right? And so whether or not you read them all the way to the side or whether or not it's up and down is unique per page. And sometimes I'm reading it fresh with you guys. It's not a comic I've done before, and I'm like, I don't really know which way this is supposed to be read. But that is a great segue back to the topic of this live stream, you guys, which is the cosmic clock. Because last night, some of you guys joined me. Have I led the... that is on its way. I'm getting the last Ronin. That's going to be a special members only read. Because I have found that the uber violent comic books on TikTok get me restricted. I got restricted. When was it? What was I reading? It wasn't even anything bad, I thought. And it restricted me. And then people on the chat were like, oh, it's the comic book dialogue. I'm like, it was the Flash. I was reading the Flash. And it restricted me. And the AI, I guess the AI didn't like what Wally had to say about reality. Too much of a tell. I'm Michelangelo personality-wise. I actually have a video. I'll link to it in my link tree a bit later. So I do astrology. I like linking astrology to stories. Because the way to derive meaning from anything is story, right? Nothing has meaning unless you attribute meaning to it. So the way I relate astrology and a way of teaching it is by attaching it to stories. So when it comes to Michelangelo, he's like a Taurus to me, right? And I'm a Taurus sun, and you know, like how he is, like he's all about his friends. You'll read in here too, like he cares about his like video games and like his snacks. He's got a lot of levity to it, right? Because I have learned, like I started out wanting to be like, you're so serious, right? You need to be the captain of the ship. But realize, like, it's the cosmic giggle, and in my older age have seen the humor in a lot of things, because like if you don't laugh you'll just cry, I guess. But also just I can appreciate the friends in my life who have been the Michelangelo for me, because they're so important in a group, right? You can't have everyone being so serious all the time. And that being said, you need Raphael too, right? Because you need that foil to it, because there's something really fun about those different personality types and how they like play off each other. Um, have but so to DC, I will be reading The Last Ronin, and it will be fresh, and that'll be fun, extremely fun. Uh, okay, let's see. Let's get into the topic. I'm gonna go into April's backstory. So if you're watching on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna have a little screen just to show uh, like some intel on April, because in the characters that we love, like the way I put it is this, like I love Greek myth, I love Roman myth, I love Egyptian myth, I love Kryptonian myth, I love all the comic books, I love science fiction, I love like Tolkien, Narnia, C.S. Lewis, I've read Aldous Huxley. So my university degree was in English literature and psychology, which some would call an unemployment degree, but I was like, I I grew up learning I knew how to code, so I ended up being a digital project manager regardless of anything. But English, learning how to analyze English literature has brought with it an understanding as to why I have loved certain stories and why you may love certain stories, because it actually tells you a lot about yourself, right? Your favorite characters, certain plot points, different lines that are in things. Those they're sacred to you, and if it's sacred to no one else but you, then so be it. Because that's enough for it to matter. And there are so many essences yearning to matter, and I just want you guys to have courage to love what you love, right? Because I've very recently emerged from very like traumatic programming to kind of play down, because you shining a light makes other people feel bad, right? Because, like, for example, if you've ever, like, I don't know, like, you and your friend have a crush on somebody, and then this somebody ends up liking you and not your friend, but your friend, like, really, really likes this person, and you don't want to hurt your friend, but, like, you have this a connection with this person. So I have been always the friend in the past who like gives up on that and just like, okay, I'll be your friend, but like then they betray you anyways. So it's been a lot of like sifting through in me, loyalty and friendship and all that, and it's about being that for the right people, right? Because you like the Spartans and all that, like that whole idea of like, if you have like one Superman and you have like all of you are Superman, like think about how amazing that is. There is no competition. There is just you being you and being the best you. And that's we've been placed into this false sense of like, I need to be better than this other person, right? There's always time to have your moment in the spotlight. It can be written in. We can write it in. Like that's what I mean. Like as someone who's done like drama and like done theater work and like written scripts and stuff, it's just, you can just make it up, and we just yeah, thank you, Stanley. Yes, I adore you guys too. I'm glad you guys are vibing with me, because I only very recently feel unlocked, and I owe it to these ladies from my imagination, right, that have come to life through me. So I used to do this thing where like Batgirl is the biggest example of this. I used to be so jealous of Batgirl, like, because I had such a crush on Robin, like Dick Grayson, and then realized like, wait a minute, I could just be Batgirl, and I could have Robin. I have Dick Grayson anyway that way, because we can just do that, right? So like I want you guys to realize we are much more magical than we think. We just need to have other people in on the magic, right? That's how movies get made, right? And yeah. Okay, so let's get into Miss April, my beautiful friend. Um, so Megan Fox, actually, who played her in, I forget the movie. I think Megan Fox is a babe. I feel like it's unfortunate that her personality is a little but she's still beautiful, and I'll take that. She is also a Taurus, you guys. Her moon is in Leo, though and so that's an example of how the moon sign can temper or give some flavor to what your sun sign is. So my moon sign's actually in Gemini, and when I learned that, that took a little bit of I had to learn how to accept that. And Crispy too. Thank you for that gift. Okay. April O'Neil was introduced as a television reporter for Channel 6 News. She was employed by Byrne Thompson, although because of her headstrong nature and passion for her work, she expressed frequent disagreement with the assignments that he gave her. She also butts heads. I don't know who these people are. The director and camera operator. I just feel like she just wants to do her own thing, which, I mean, you gotta be a rebel to like also keep the secrets of the turtles. Okay. Let's see here. In the 1987 series, having been employed at Channel 6 for less than a year, April was reporting on a series of thefts of high-tech scientific equipment, apparently by a ninja. Okay. So basically the shredder for the Technodrome, when she came under attack by a gang of punks. Thinking quickly, she managed to squeeze into a storm drain and ran from the mob until she hit a dead end. Oh, thanks, James. Just James. Yeah, I love April. You guys, we're giving some ode to Miss April O'Neil tonight. And also to the importance of news anchors and double entendres when it comes to words and names, right? So I'm working on a science fiction fantasy series called The Dragon Warriors. So I have 3 books written. The first is a young adult novel, which I already wrote when I was 14. And I've only recently retranscribed it. And so we have the Dragon Warriors Battle for Mount Olympus, and then the Dragon Warriors Escape from District 6, which is supposed to be a synthwave, 80s futuristic escape movie, which is a spiritual successor to John Carpenter's Escape from LA and Escape from New York. This concept of like prison cities, and like we're in like a dystopic future and we got to open up a portal. So anyways, before I go off on a tangent, it's all about the names of things. And so even if we think about the names of the turtles, right? Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, they're all Renaissance artists, right? This idea of being a Renaissance man, being not just a painter, a sculptor, a writer, an architect, this idea that our way of interfacing with reality is one that is of beauty. It's one that we, as conduits to the great mystery of all, have the great opportunity to have our unique lens to pull that through, right? The great artist, which is, and your life, right, sits in this library in a grand, opulent place where it will be read for countless generations. And so your life is for you to live it, right? And to experience it however way you wish to experience it. And I've always been the type of person who, I don't like people telling me what to do, so I totally vibe with April here, where I've gone through the lesson of learning how to serve, right? To take, because I worked in corporate for a while, right? And I climbed the ladder. I became like a manager somehow. And I've been told, like, by those that I've managed, that I'm literally like no boss that you've ever met. And even when I project manage, it's a way of, I've learned how to lead. I guess that's the way to kind of put it. And I can appreciate when I see leadership in others, as well as I have a knack of seeing people's strengths and identifying that. And it's a fun thing to have in a friend group, especially when you're doing things like playing video games or even just getting to know each other. It's bringing yourself to the table so that you can know where each other fit in your life. And when it comes to friends and friendships, I think that I was very blessed to grow up with really, really close girlfriends. And so close, like we'd have like girl camping trips where I would like burn CDs, and they would be very special CDs of music that we would like listen to, and it would like be a way of encoding that time space, going to that camping trip, right? And so whenever you hear that song, you're always going to go back to it. Like Always Be My Baby by like Mariah Carey. I cry every time, and I'm an easy cry though. Okay. Thanks, Sergeant Frosty Man. Hello, welcome. I am talking also about the importance of video games, but I do want to give some ode to April O'Neil. I want to know how do you guys know April? Is it like through the TV show? Because for me, it was the cartoon TV show, and then also the original, I guess it was the 80s that like, what was it, the Ooze one? I was talking to my hubby about this, about like which turtle movies you like the best. And we can't really remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, but 2, where it was like, go ninja, go. I know I saw someone call that in the chat, but yeah, and that April, and even in all of this story that I have right here, and I'm going to read this a little bit as we close out this live, because it features Batgirl and April working together, and they're very alike, and I feel like they would be besties if they were like in the same universe. So it's fun when aspects of like similar character archetypes get to play with each other. I know, I like it when they match, right? Okay, so April's friendship with the Turtles resulted in the opportunity to film exclusive footage of their encounters with Shredder, but despite her intimate knowledge of the details of their lives, she tended to keep her professional news reports about them impersonal and mysterious. So here's an important thing about, I read the black and white comics from the 80s. Wow, Soul and Fire. So, actually, I know the Turtles from way before even the show. You guys are Archie Comics? So Archie Comics had like a version of the Turtles comic books. And I think that the storylines for those Turtle comics are different, right? The Turtles for the black and white originals, and then the ones that were kind of made for like the Archieverse, I think were slightly different. Don't quote me on that, but I loved those comic books. And they did a lot of like dimension jumping, like Dimension X and that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I was always like intrigued by portals and stuff. Okay. She was a vocal champion of their cause, despite the opinion that Burn Thornton that the Turtles were a menace to the city, and most episodes generally showed her attempting to convince Burn, and then so it does take place in New York, right? So in this, right, there's a portal between Gotham City and New York, and on a level, right, Gotham City is essentially a blueprint of what New York City is. It's just Gotham's mythical, but New York on some level is mythical too. Every city has this like mythical blueprint double of it, and that's where I think playing video games is a wonderful way to have a model by which to talk about reality. It's why I say like the cosmic game of life, because think of it this way: if you're when you're born, right, you have all the stars, all the planets, they're all mapped to very specific points just for you, right? That all means that you have a sun placement, moon placement, all that kind of stuff. Each of those planets on you are like a stage. Think of it that way, like a stage. I like Shakespeare, so let's put it that way. Like think of it like the stage of life, and those planets are going to be either like close together, or like one's going to be like out in front stage and one's going to be way backstage. One's going to be maybe opposing the other. Certain energies are going to fight each other, and this is all within you, right? So it may explain things like, so I'll give you an example in my own aspects. When I first found astrology, I was like, I went off and I made a whole bunch of YouTube videos about it, because it was like my mind had been blown. I was like, oh my gosh, everything's a story. And if you just know where you are in the story, then you can kind of play the game a little bit uh, with a little bit more pizzazz. It could be a little bit more fun, right? It doesn't have to feel so fatalistic. Oh my gosh, all the world's the stage. William Shakespeare, our dear bard. Also, me and my hubby love horror movies, and like old horror movies, and Vincent Price, also known as like that voice from the beginning of Michael Jackson's Thriller. But he also has these two movies about Dr. Phibes, and in, I think, Dr. Phibes Returns or Strikes Back, he comes back. It's a 70s movie. He quotes Twelfth Night, where he's like, if music be the food of love, then play on. And it's said by Duke Orsino in the first like opening line of Twelfth Night. And Twelfth Night is also known as like Epiphany, right? 12 days of Christmas, this way of like understanding yourself. Oh yes, Green Lantern is my hubby. We actually celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary on February 3rd. We got married in Cozumel, 10 years ago. We actually visited the pyramids of Chichen Itza in 2012, because there's something magical about that place, as well as this concept of energies, right? And inner knowing, inner understanding, and how that also affects like bigger things, right? Oh yeah, thank you. Time passes so fast. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I need to get some water actually. I didn't bring any with me. I didn't realize, like, yeah, I need to stay hydrated. Thank you so much, you guys. I need to have some music as well. Don't move. Okay. All right. Now that I'm hydrated again, let's get into what I was actually talking about. After a brief interlude, yes. So actually, let me go back into the story of why I love April so much personally. So I moved out to Toronto in 2008, and I met my husband here like very quickly after, because we were both personal trainers at the gym downtown at Yonge and Dundas. It was an extreme fitness back then. It is now, I think, like a Five Guys. I don't even know. I think it's like it's not even a gym anymore. It was a Good Life for a while, but now it's like I think fast food place. Regardless of that, I had initially moved out to Toronto to take broadcast journalism. So broadcast journalism, if you're not familiar, is like, I wanted to be a news anchor. I wanted to be like April O'Neil, Channel 6 News, but also like Lois Lane. What was his pickup line? Would you believe that I pursued him? Which I always do. I'm an Aries. Venus isn't my Aries, so I tend to be the one who chooses. I prefer to be the one who asks. So I already, when I first laid eyes on him, because I'd already been hired at the gym and like was working as a trainer at the same time as me going to school for broadcast journalism, and when he was hired and I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna marry this man. And he's 2 years younger than I am, which isn't much, but I had typically, until him, had dated much, much older than me. So that was always problematic, I think. It's like power struggle situation, but I don't know, myself and Kevin, we're old souls. We've been together very many lifetimes. We do psychedelics together. We like we mind meld. We have telepathy with each other. So I love him ever so much. So I'm so thankful. I never would have met him in Winnipeg, for example, right? I knew everybody in Winnipeg, and uh, there's a beauty to that, I guess, right? Because all of your friends know everybody else, but then like your pool is like very small, and then if you have a bad falling out or a bad breakup, it's like everybody knows your business, and it's just like it all becomes like a high school movie, and it's awful. So I moved out to Toronto to just kind of like find myself, like find my own identity, and I wanted to, I wanted to be a news anchor because I couldn't think of anything else that I could use English for, right? Like I was like, what was I going to be, like a poet or a writer of some sort? I couldn't see myself like that being any sort of like career. Thank you, Soul on Fire. Yes, he's a beautiful match. Like he's the perfect hero for all of my stories, right? I've been dreaming about him a long time, and so when I saw him, I just recognized him, and so the biggest thing I tell my girlfriends is this, that you aren't going to attract any, like, it's like the elephant in the room. I tell you, like, don't think about an elephant in the room, and then you're immediately going to think about it. So my girlfriends who complain to me about guys who are doing this, and men are shit, and that, and this stuff, okay, so you're just going to get more of that, you realize, right? You need to start thinking of like, so dream about your perfect guy. Like, what does he look like? What does he smell like? What does he do for you? And I don't mean like his job. I don't mean the car he drives. I don't mean anything like that. I just mean who's your dream guy? Because like that's what's gonna matter in the end of it, right? At least to me. And as I've told you guys, like my heroes growing up have always been like the superheroes of my comic books. Even like Leonardo, right? Who's not even like a human being. I can appreciate attributes of when characters have to make certain decisions, or when characters go through things that are awful. And in spite of all that, find the courage to keep fighting, right? To keep pushing on, to be there for their friends, to do the right thing. All of those things really matter. And, I've always had like a thing of like talking with like little kids like they're all grown up, because that's how my dad used to talk to me. My dad never talked to me like I was like a little kid. He always talked to me, and I always had questions about things, right? I'll get into stories that my dad used to tell me as a computer scientist a little bit later, maybe as Batgirl, because Batgirl's notorious as Oracle for being super techie, and so am I on some level. My sister's so much more so, but just like anything, you need to practice it. And I'm not necessarily a coder, but it's about just numbers have always been something that for me, I'm like, I don't get it, but I do get codified language. And so we'll get into that in just a second. So more on April. Let me reopen up my little window here before I go off on a tangent. I wanted to show a little bit of the emulator. So I have an emulator on my screen share, and I'm going to pull up. This might cut it off a bit. I may just do this a different time. So if you want to play free retro games through your browser online, just go to retrogames.cz. I need to find, I actually have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles downloaded on my Xbox to play. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that also to TikTok. We'll see. Oh yes, no worries, Soul on Fire. Have a wonderful night. Lots of love from the universe right back at you. Okay, I'm not going to play this right now. I do want to instead give you guys a quick cosmic clock reading, chart reading of the everlasting now in terms of the stars and luminaries in the planets right now. I have my cards, my tarot cards, so we'll do a card reading for like what we're feeling right now, and then I'm going to finish off with a little bit from here. Okay. I'm hands on the complete opposite. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, so nice to see you, Theo. Okay, so let's go into astrology. Dun 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 dun. I mean, I'm really happy a lot of people are more into astrology. I look at it, um, if you want to trust nothing else, why not the like ancient practice of just looking up at the cosmos rather than like what our so-called experts who have been proven to be liars most of the time have told us. Okay, what's going on? We've got the sun is 27 degrees in Aquarius. We've got the moon is 7 degrees in Libra. We've still got that big, beautiful full moon lighting everything up. And so, just a reminder, my friends, your moon sign represents things like your subconscious, your inner child, your inner mother, all of that stuff that sits below the surface. It's also very much related to things like, your moods. So it does have this relationship to your mental state, right? So when it comes to your chakras, it does even come into like this crown mental area. So even if you think like memory, and this is where Mercury and the moon tend to be very close. I like to look at Sailor Moon in this regard, right? Because Sailor Moon and Sailor Mercury are friends and stuff. So in your own chart, remember, if you go on any calculator, you're going to have your own placement. So right now, the moon is in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, and also things like diplomacy and relationships. And there's a level of, if you're a Libra, my hubby's actually a Libra. I tease him just because there can be this level of being paralyzed because you want to make the absolute perfect decision. And sometimes there isn't a perfect decision. Sometimes you just gotta go, but like, it's like, okay, Libra, you gotta like, come on. Well, I get, maybe that's my Aries self. Like, let's go, let's go. And like, thank goodness for my Aries to help speed my Taurus along, because I feel like I would be very slow at making decisions too otherwise. We do also have a full moon though right now, and something to also look at in your own charts is if what phase of the moon you were born under. It gives you some intel. You're an Aquarius. Ooh, I love Aquarius. So in the Ninja Turtles, I have Donatello as being Aquarius because he has all the gadgets. Very smart, very analytical, very aware of like social structures. Aquarius, Libra is also an air sign. So Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini are all air signs. And so air signs all deal with this more mental state capacity. And so I think the learning of all the air signs is to learn how to like be in the moment and the now, and not necessarily like in the future and in like the 8 million other possibilities happening in your mind at once. Because what is time, right? And that's what I feel like astro is more of a practice of. It's about seeing what is. It's a practice of observation. It's not about believing in anything. I'm just looking at the angles and looking at the luminaries and interpreting it in my lens through story, in my case, because I look at each of the planets as having so I loved Greek and Roman myth growing up, you guys. Like all of this, and actually Norse myth as well. Like Freya, Odin, Thor, like Balder, if you guys are familiar with Balder. And it's, so my kitty, I had a cat, Oreo, R.I.P. Oreo. He passed about a year ago, and I went home to Winnipeg and I got his ashes to bring back to my altar. And Freya, this goddess, she actually has 2 giant cats that pull her chariot across the heavens. And so my hubby also had a cat named Chico who had passed. So we like to say that Chico and Oreo, like, they now get to pull Freya's cat through her chariot through the heavens. So it's all to say that Freya is the equivalency in goddess. It would be Venus, right? Because Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. And so in all of our charts, our Venus placement attributes where we find beauty, where we find love, where we find pleasure. And so it's in the collective, as we do this reading, Venus sits in Aries, which is kind of cool for me because my Venus is also in Aries. It explains why I like fast cars and roller coasters and like pushing existence and like what it means to feel alive to the very limit, right? To your detriment sometimes, but hopefully you learn your lessons before you get too hurt. But Venus, you're in Aries right now, and it's a spicy, fiery place for Venus to be. I look at this as like, oh, it's an opportunity for you to say what you really want to say to your loved ones. Like, oh, I don't know. Okay, so, but remember, you guys, though, there's a dance of everything, right? Uh, every sign, every aspect, every essence, there is a gift and there is a shadow. So when it comes to Taurus, I'll use myself as an example. I'm ruled by the planet Venus. And of course, like, who doesn't love pleasure and joy and beauty and art and all of those succulent, wonderful things? But to get those things, that takes work. Like, for example, like me competing in fitness and to get on stage and be in that bikini and like feel my best would mean that I would have to say no to cakes and stuff like pie, which I really like. Right? So you have to say no to what you want now to have what you want most of all. But in order to do that, you need to make a plan, because otherwise you just get like, okay, there's so many wonderful things, like, why should I say no to it? Right? But it's not about other people making those rules on you. I can't stand, there's nothing can't stand more than arbitrary rules, right? Just, oh, because I said so. Like, that's not good enough. Like, I'm totally fine taking leadership cues when it's, I understand it, right? It's like, make me understand it, because if I am expecting you to like follow me anywhere, I'm hopeful that you understand why we're doing whatever we're doing and you have buy-in in it, which is why in project management, if you guys have ever done software management, you do something called sprint planning, right? So in the beginning, let's say you have like a big project that's supposed to span like 3 months. You're going to break down that big project into like 2-week sprints so that you have like easier digestible chunks of wins, so you feel like you're getting somewhere as you go, and then you have your bigger goal that's like still there as your North Star. Oh, what are we reading tonight? We're going to be reading Batman and Ninja Turtles Adventures. It's a lighter read because I was initially going to read The Killing Joke, but Barbara Gordon in that, it's really heavy, and I feel like tonight, just based on the energies, we could use a lighter read tonight, something that's a bit more friendship and team ups from different dimensions, right? Oh, stop speaking too much truth in here, Nur Nagaland. You got to speak in code. I've learned by all the restrictions. Okay, so basically we've got I love The Killing Joke, but it's one of those reads, right, where it's heavy, right? Oh no, I can't have political things. Okay. Okay. We're going to, yeah. So I'm going to leave The Killing Joke. Yeah, we're going to keep it light tonight. I think you guys would agree that we could use some levity. And I think that's why I've learned to appreciate Michelangelo versus like Leonardo or Raphael, right, in characters, because, like, sometimes you just need a little bit of a laugh, and not in like a creepy evil way. I mean, like like an actual, like, oh my gosh, isn't this funny? The cosmic giggle kind of thing. Okay, so going back to the chart of the now, just to keep you guys informed as to what's going on in the cosmos. And it's also just to like let you guys know, sometimes if you're a very like empathetic person, you may be someone who's like, oh, I feel sad today, or I feel anxious for some reason, but it's because the general collective is going through something as well, and we're all just feeling those energies as a whole, right? Okay, so we've got let's see, Mars is in Cancer, Jupiter is in Gemini still. I'm not going to keep talking about that one. Let's look at the aspects. Sun is conjunct Mercury. That's not that close of an orb. But Moon is opposite Venus. That's something to look at. Let's look at that. So I wanted to talk about a certain aspects in astrology. Are you a Scorpio? Us versus I love Scorpios. Scorpios are my detectives of the zodiac, always knowing what's up under the surface. Okay, so aspects in astrology are when you have different planets, wherever they're placed, they make a specific angle to you. And you can have things like trines, squares, oppositions, sextiles. So these all make different angles. I like to say the angles are the aspects are the angles, and the angles are the angels, and the angels light your way in terms of what energies you have at hand to work with, right? And it's not to say, I don't like to say it's fatalistic. Jodorowsky, who is, he famously did that failed Dune movie, as well as wrote things like the Meta Barons and the In Call, right? He's famously said that it's better to be aspected than not aspected at all. And I would agree, right? Even if you have a bunch of squares in your chart, just be aware that you're given certain challenges because you're strong enough to rise to them, right? There's great gifts that are behind great challenges. It's why in superheroes, why you need if a superhero is super overpowered, you're going to need to have a villain that is equally powered. Otherwise, there's no story to that, right? There's nothing interesting to that. So there needs to be this foil to it, and the duality to that is the understanding of that. And that's why the Killing Joke is so brutal, because for Batman to exist, what is the force that is opposite to that? The Joker is brutal, and it's a point of it hurts to look at. But if we're going to deal with something like that, we need to look at what's in the shadows. You need to be strong enough. And that's why me and my hubby like horror movies, right? Because I feel it's almost like psychic training. You you get scared, but you're okay, now I learned how to deal with my emotions of being scared, so that when the time comes and I need to act, I'm not paralyzed by fear. I can act, right? I can just push the bad guy out of the way and get away, right? Or enact a plan or something like that. I can do something instead of just being a victim. If you stare into the abyss stares back at you. Or what is the other line? When you fight monsters, just be aware when you become one, or you live to become the villain of the story. I'm not a fan of horror. No, you don't need to be a fan of horror movies. My sister tells me that she can only watch horror movies in a group, and I agree with her. As a social activity where you're all scared together, because it's not as scary when you're all together. My favorite horror movie. It's so funny, you guys. I went and found my old grade 8 yearbook from 1999, and the little caption in your yearbook, you talk about things, and for whatever reason I felt the need to call out that my favorite movie was Scream, and then I said Scream 2 wasn't so bad. I'm I love that you felt the need to just call this out in your yearbook, little Rachel. But my favorite horror movie, that's tough. I do love slasher movies. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because I have really fond memories of going to the movies, the theater with my friends, and watching these movies. But if I had to choose favorite horror movie based on all parameters of everything, I don't like gory movies, like things like Saw, like the Saw franchise. Like my hubby tricked me into watching Saw once because I don't like, I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer like psychological kind of thriller stuff, you know, or even like the darker superhero stuff or the darker comic books. There, some of them can be tough to read, right? Um, the old school yearbook with graffiti with those funk. Yeah, yeah, exactly. With the S drawings, like the 8 thing. Yeah, PCJP. Have I seen? Yes, I've seen the Terrifier. Thank you for reminding that. I actually like the Terrifier series. It's so gross. I can't watch the actual gore part. I do like the whole like I can't, no, I can't like watch the gore. I actually like Cronenberg stuff too. But same thing. I'm like a peeker. I would like just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's so but I like being scared because like it like even when I play like video game, so I don't like playing the horror video games like Dead Space, but I'll get my hubby to play it and then I'll just like watch. I'm scared. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs is good. Yeah, that's Hannibal Lecter and Clarice. Yes, I that's a good one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head because yeah, the Scream franchise. Like, I didn't watch the later Screams, like Halloween, for example, and all of the John Carpenter stuff, like The Thing. Um, that's a those are really scary, and they also teach you about how to survive in this reality, and like you know what happens if there's doppelgangers. Oh my gosh, you guys, The Last Ronin needs to be a special comic book read that I will do next month. I have it coming, and we'll do. I haven't read it yet, but we will read it for the first time together. I've heard great things. Okay, so let's get into. Speaking of which, I'm just going to pull up one aspect today. The moon is opposing Venus right now. So in any of your charts, you're going to have your own aspects. So an example for me is that my sun opposes Pluto. So Pluto, while it's a generational planet, it becomes activated in me, which is why I like Scorpios so much because Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto deals with like really like uncomfortable taboo subjects, right? Like sex and death and like intimacy and you know all the stuff that like addictions and like occult things. So the Possession of Michael King was nuts. I can't find. I feel like certain movies get suppressed or like some get banned and stuff for whatever reason because like it's like in poor taste. I'm like, you know what? The news is poor taste in my opinion. Okay, let's learn. So right now the moon is opposite Venus. So I'm just gonna pull up a transit in. Oh. It's saying that it can create tension in our relationships. If your needs aren't being met in a relationship, it's going to be more obvious when a moon Venus opposition transit occurs. Lack of affection in your relationships may become more apparent. Oh, interesting. That's okay. That's a really tight orb that's being had right now. Let me see if there's another. That's really like something to deal with. I wanted to do some spells tonight, and I don't know if this is a good moon to do it under. I'll double check. Easily modified. Yin energies. Moon Venus. Okay, I get it. I see. All right, friends. So what we have in the skies right now is, so there's basically 2 goddesses in the zodiac, the moon, and not the zodiac, but our planetary rulers rather, the moon and Venus. And Venus is like the Earth's sister, right? The moon, however, I like to think of it as like this relationship between females where sometimes you're competing against each other and they can be catty, or sometimes they can work together and it can be great. It depends on how they're able to synthesize. So what we have right now is an opposition. So whenever you have an opposition, right? You basically have two energies that are pushing and pulling against each other. I'm sure you may have felt this opposition if you've ever dealt with like a decision and one part of you wants to do one thing and another part of you wants to do another. An example I have of this is like, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you no longer love them. And you're like, okay, I want to break up with this person, but I don't know how to do. Women hate each other. That's not true. I have a lot. I don't hate women. I love women. I've had women dislike me a lot, and I've just had to deal with that. But like, I've learned though to protect myself a lot more and my energies a lot more. I don't need to let in, and I think that's the energies in the cosmos right now as well, guys, right? Just because we love, I actually pulled a chakra card in my bath the other day, and I'll share it with you guys because it was forgiveness. And initially I was like, oh, forgiving people, right? But no, it's more about forgiving yourself when you love something or someone that hurts you. And this can also relate to things like addiction, right? Like, I used to be so addicted to things like sugar because I grew up in a really like strict household, so like I didn't get to like eat all like the cool like white people food, I called it. Like things like white bread or any kind of like cake stuff. So like when I like finally got to be like on my own, I'm a Taurus actually. Thanks, Philip. Yeah. So, and I mean also a Taurus too. I love snacks. I love snacks. Snacks are the best. Snacks and movies, movie night, snacks. It's the best. And naps and like, dreaming and all that kind of things. Yeah, of course. Like simple things. I'm not drama. And this is why also growing up I had a lot of guy friends. But this is because I had a lot of great girlfriends who were also just like me, who had a lot of guy friends too. We kind of just all hung out in like a group of girls and guys. So it wasn't, and then of course you had like crushes and like people would like date, but it wasn't this like weird thing that I feel like isn't like I feel for my niece and like I feel for like some of my like younger cousins because it's like a I feel like an odd dynamic these days. Also like online dating. I never did that, so I have no idea like the dynamics of what that's like and how people may represent themselves one way and then you meet them in real life and you're like because because like I need to like touch you, I need to like hug, I'm like a huggy person, right? And so it's like one of those things where like I feel like people are much more like hands off. But I feel bad for my daughter. How old's your daughter, if you don't mind me asking? Us versus us. It's a tough. You know what though? They can handle it though. They just need. I've gotten some messages from the universe that I'm a big writer, right? I love myth, story, and I'm working on my own comic book. And I feel like this younger generation, there's so much. They're pre-downloaded with a lot of stuff. Right? She is 3. Oh, she's gonna be so special. Yeah. They're gonna save us. But we need to help them. Yeah, they have a lot of potential because think about yourself when you were that age. Like I thought I figured the world out when I was like 6 years old, and then you like grow up and you're like, wait a minute. Adults don't really know what they're talking about. I actually knew everything back then. Oh my gosh. It's funny you mentioned that because I have a big dream now of having my own AM radio station because, as you guys know, I love reading comics, and H.G. Wells, Mad World, Mad World Tears for Fears. Oh yeah, you guys are speaking my language. And I told you guys, like, check out the songs that were released when you were born, right? Or even when you were conceived, right? When you were being made, what music was being played. Those frequencies, they can give you clues about like your cells, like who you are. And I don't mean in this like very logical kind of way. I just mean what nourishes you. And for me, when I I think the hardest lesson for me growing up was heartbreak. Like the first time that I went through like a breakup with my first boyfriend. Uh, Actually, wait, hold on. My first boyfriend was actually this guy named Aaron, and he was really sweet, but I didn't actually like him. I just dated him because all my friends wanted me to date him. And so when I had to actually break up with him, I felt really bad about it. And I think that's the energy in the cosmos right now, right? Where if you're in a relationship where like you're not really into it, that person actually deserves to be with someone who is like into them, right? And so I had to handle that breakup tactfully. And I don't think I did a great job. I could have done better, but I was like 16, so whatever. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Late night radio. And then we can like ask Rachel anything, and I can give you like your relationship advice answers. Because that's what all my friends used to ask me. I'm a heartbreaker. I cut my. Oh, you're a heart. Oh, you guys. I have been a heartbreaker, but then that came around and bit me in the ass. So, my first boyfriend, he had a really nice pool too. So my friends got mad at me too for breaking up with him because then we couldn't go over and use his pool anymore. I'm like, but I'm not that kind of girl. Can't do it. But I'm a wifey now. No, it all worked out, right? It all worked out in the end because I learned how to be an awesome wife, right? Through all of those trials and tribulations and heartbreak. But I tell you, the first time that I had my heart broken, it really hurt. It really hurt. Um, I felt like I couldn't move. Like it was just like I could feel it through my whole body, and like I listened to like certain songs just on like repeat and like crying all the time. And my sister was really worried about me. Um, but you get over it, right? But that was the harder part of being in Winnipeg, right? Where all your friends know each other because you would go to parties and let's say you would see like your ex with like a new girlfriend and you're like, oh my gosh, how did you move on so fast? I was still like hurting, yeah. So like and then I did really like dirty tricks too, like things like um talking to someone else like make you jealous or like all exact like I can't stand stupid games like that. Like I'm so old and over it, but um there is ramifications for behaving that way too. And I do counsel my younger girlfriends because I do have a lot of girlfriends of mine because I'm turning 40 this year, right? But I do have a lot of girlfriends of mine who are like, early 20s or like early 30s, late 20s. Like I have girlfriends from all across the map because doing dance and personal training, I just have a really like wide spectrum of friends, and so it's just been interesting to see like this rift I feel between men and women, and I don't just mean like dating, I just mean like in friendship too, because I've always had a lot of guy friends, but also there's a level of being aware of having respect for your partner, right? And I just feel like girls need to realize that too, that like I wouldn't appreciate it if like my hubby was going out and like hanging out with a bunch of like girls that were just friends, even if they were, right? It's just about just being aware of like respect and like including him in things, right? So I like try to have this like gatherings where there's like my girlfriends and my guy friends, and just to like have it just be like because we're hanging out and we're all friends, but you can still have it be like intimate gatherings. And this is where Winnipeg differs a lot from Toronto, because in Winnipeg, right, like me and my sister used to just throw house parties all the time, right? We were just like, yeah, okay, everyone's coming over, you can crash if you want, we have like extra bedrooms, you can like just park your car in the garage, I'll make punch, which like may or may not have magical things in it. Bring your own stuff. No, I don't. We don't have kids just yet. We do want to have them, but not in the city. And it's just come back around to I guess me coming home to the prairies, right? I came out to Toronto like I was 23 when I came out here, and I'm turning 40 now, and it's all like I've come full circle to find myself and realize that it's about telling the stories, and the biggest stories that you have to tell is yours, right? And I came all the way out to the big city to find myself and to find my husband, because to be very honest, I never would have found him in Winnipeg, right? Oh, thanks, Chop. Yeah, and I work out. Like I love the gym. I fell in love with the gym when I went to university, when I first started being on dance team, because we got a free gym membership, and I just fell in love with the weights. My friend Laura, she had like the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and so we like put together a workout split, and like I fell in love with weight training. It's saved my life, honestly. Like, I am a Gemini moon, so in your astrology, your moon sign dictates like also like all the processes that are running in your like subconscious mind. So this is just who I am. I worry about everything. I worry about all the different possibilities that could happen, that could go wrong. And it's just, yeah, it's just been a thing of like, when you're focused on just like lifting up heavy stuff, you really just have to focus or you're going to hurt yourself, right? So like if you're doing like a deadlift, your back, your breathing, focusing on all that, I can just quiet my mind. I don't have to think about anything that is worrying me. I can just focus on my body and my relationship to my breath and all that kind of stuff. I'm not finished reading it. We haven't even begun. Let's just get started, and then I will see you guys in a hot minute. So this is the Ninja Turtles Adventures. Where we last left off was we had a portal open between Gotham City and New York City. And, you know, essentially, do I go to the sauna? Of course, I love the sauna. I actually prefer steam rooms, though, you guys, or hot tubs or other hot therapies. But because I can have like eucalyptus steam. It's like wonderful. But I love like hot baths, all that kind of stuff. But I would say that all of it kind of goes hand in hand with everything else. You know, it's all synergistic, and feeling out what elements of things work for you. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm half Filipino, so I need like the heat, especially being in like Toronto's like freaking crazy these days. Like I looked outside, I'm like, is this Winnipeg? What happened? Okay, so we have, let's just start from the hangout, because I love it, because April O'Neil and Batgirl are hanging out, and I do feel like these two ladies would be actually friends if they were to hang out in real life. Okay, in real life. What is real? Anyways, that last one was on me. Okay, so let me see if I've got this straight. April, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Caravaggio? Dude, it's Michelangelo. As in the statue of David. Hello. The resemblance is uncanny. What else can you tell me about those portals? I have never seen anything like them. Well, we have. Too many times. They're built and controlled by a group of aliens called the Krang. We thought that we'd taken them down, but until today, we thought the same thing about snakeweed. And then meanwhile, Michelangelo's talking to Robin. Your cape is so awesome. I'm not allowed to wear one anymore. There was an incident with a blender. I don't really want to get into it. Okay. It got caught in there and it was sent flying around the room. Well, you don't really have to talk about it. It got pizza stains on my favorite pair of underwear. Oh my gosh, please stop. So, Batgirl, I like your cape too. Thanks. You have a nice shell. Nope, this isn't awkward on any level. I was born with it. I really think it accents my... Whoa. And then Master Splinter, of course, big giant rat, enters the room. Everyone's seeing the giant rat man, right? Yeah, that's, sort of our dad. Oh, sure. Why not? Sensei? I was listening to my radio station when it was interrupted. Master Splinter. No word on the exact threat causing this widespread panic. Eyewitnesses report have eyewitness reports have varied from talk of aliens to gigantic spiders. It seems there is some sort of riot in the East Village. We need to get on this fast. That could be Krang or... Hold on. I've located another portal, and it's over in Chinatown. It'll have to wait. We can't afford to waste even a... We split up. Leonardo and Raphael are with me. We'll head to the village. Donatello and the others locate the portal. No one gets in or out. Got it, Bat Boss. Do your best to stay out of sight. We don't want to attract any more attention. And then meanwhile, we cut to Michelangelo, who's got a mixtape, cassette tape. Anybody know what time it is? It's 10:30. That's right. It's Mikey mixtape time. This is why I also love Michelangelo. He loves mixtapes, just like me. Evening, J-Mags. Oh, yeah, no worries. I only just started reading. So we're doing a crossover between Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm your host, April O'Neil, 1987, right? That version, because remember, we're in a multiverse, so we gotta call out which universe you're beaming in from. Okay. It's 10:30. That's right. It's Mikey Oh my gosh, that's a whole mouthful. It's Mikey mixtape time. Wingnut rap. What are you doing? A sweet head bop. Wingnut. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say this is like go ninja, go. So wingnut rap. Wingnut rap? Could you please stop? I don't think that's possible. Go. Oh, well, this is going to be a real hoot. Go, Wingnut, go. Go, Wingnut, go. I feel like that's a callback to the Go Ninja thing. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling you, Mikey. You always need a good mixtape when you're going into battle. One hoot later. Go, Wingnut, go. Click. Go. We're here. Whatever, I know. That's cool. Shadows, 5 o'clock. Dude, turtles don't even shave. Yeah, so that's super creepy. And then back in the East Village. So basically what happened here, there's bad guys with creepy masks. And when Robin was calling out shadows, 5 o'clock, he meant actual shadows, not shadows on your face. So thanks, Chop. Okay, let's continue on. In the East Village, no sign of the Krang. I find it interesting that they call them the Krang, because I feel like in the TV show he was just Krang, right? And he was like that weird brain thing in the stomach of that mech suit guy. I don't know if... Anyways, the Krang in the comic book. Snakes! Get him off! Because we've got Scarecrow. And Scarecrow has that like fear gas thing going on, right? So these people have the fear gas, and so they're terrified. Let's get down there. No, you're not prepared for this. Stick to the rooftops. Let me know when you see him. Who are we looking for? The man dressed like a scarecrow. Oh, yes. Krang, yes. Krang was so creepy. And he came from Dimension X, right? Yes. We are in the middle of a story. This is lighthearted because I'd finished reading The Killing Joke, and that's very dark. And so this is much more of like... The Joker's less menacing and awful in this version. more cartoony. This is an all ages comic book, so I shouldn't have any restrictions from good old TikTok for the story. Okay. Dressed like a what now? Be nice if you'd fill us in for once. Leo? Ruff? Who did this? You did this to me. This way, quickly. So see, they're terrified because of like the fear gas that Scarecrow has pushed out there. And so he's like leading them down into a trap. You'll be safe in here. Dr. Jonathan Crane, also known to the people of Gotham City as the Scarecrow. And then basically, like, that would be kind of crazy if the Ninja Turtles had to go up against the Scarecrow. So the Batman's like, you guys are not prepared for this, because it's like having a bad mushroom trip, I suppose. All right, New York City, the East Village are now flooded with fear gas. Help, help, help me. I'm so hungry. Why won't you let me eat? Monster, you're a monster. Get them off. I can't breathe. His eyes. So they're all freaking out. Batman has his little mask on, and so he's like walking through the crowd as people are freaking out. And then, crap. Great. My boy. Why did you go? Why did you abandon Gotham? You left us alone with them. Oh, hey, Papa Dave. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Oh, yay. And we completed the first stage of the team quest. And then whack. And then you see the Scarecrow show up. Continuing on. Elsewhere. Terry's Tacos and Taxidermy. Mr. J, who is this? I'm not interested in changing my cable provider. It's me, your little Harley Cakes. Harley, why didn't you say so? It's been ages. 20 whole minutes. So how goes the night's errand, doll? The boys at the zoo said they had some luck. So how'd you make out? Fantastic. I gotta tell ya, I love this place. No super people in capes. No disgruntled sidekicks. Not even a hard-as-nails police commissioner with a heart of gold. So you found all the necessary ingredients. Enough for a batch of Joker gas to keep the whole city in stitches. Literally. The Joker. Okay. Yeah, this isn't good. Oh, thank you, a registered user. You sent the woolly hat. Yay, I'm almost at the gift goal. Thank you. Oh, and it's actually getting good, you guys. Like, we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this story, like jumping right in like a dream. Hoping you guys, like, know where you are. Oh, yeah. Till next time, J-Mags. Thanks for joining in. See you next time. So we've got Batgirl, April O'Neil, Ninja Turtles, Donatello, and Michelangelo, and April O'Neil on the roof. I think they're facing off against the Foot. Okay, but they all look kind of creepy. So I think it's like the Foot with maybe some sort of mutation. We'll see. I mean, sure, they want to kill and or maim us, but they're all really super friendly about it. Oh, thanks, Lukumi. Oh my gosh. Lukumi. I hope I say your name right. It's very fancy looking. Thanks for that. It's like really good customer service. Guys, I think I found something. Is it a creepy grinning footbot? Because I think we've all found those guys, Donnie. I love it. It's April speaking April dialogue. That's the meta-ness of like the reality we're in right now. So maybe we'll break it by me doing this. Okay. Is it a really creepy grinning footbot? Because I think we've all found those guys, Donnie. No, seriously, I need a minute with this. I don't know what it is. Oops. But this doesn't look like Krang tech. Take 2. Hiya, we've got this. Lukumi is a Greek dessert. That sounds delicious. I love desserts of all kinds, all cultures. They're all delicious to me. Okay. So this Joker guy, he's another one of the escaped convicts Batman was telling us about. Worst of the worst. And now he's running the Foot Clan. If that's who these guys are, then I think it's a safe bet. Wait, let that one get away. That way we can follow it to visit. Hey, dude, this is the Shredder. We've known where his hideout is for like years. We're in the weirdest dimension ever. April's like, well, it's complicated. Joker, this Shredder guy. Yeah, we can't do this alone. I'll make the call. Ugh. So Batman's captured at this point. Where? Oh, you don't want to know the answer to that one, I'm afraid. Ugh. I'm sorry. Keep it away. Keep it away, I mean it. Get the bugs away. Get the bugs away. I'm so sorry. I believe this is the worst nightmare terrain. Oh, and the gang's all here. I tell you guys, sometimes animations for kids, some of them are like the scariest-ish, right? If I think of like Dark Crystal or even like some scenes from like The Last Unicorn and things, it's always like some of them like, it can be really creepy. Oh, thank you, Lukimi. Oh, no worries. Even you came just in time for the read. I only started the read not too long ago, and I'm not going to go too late with this. I'll continue this on another time, but I'm just continuing on from the last time I was April, and this is a fun crossover between April and Batgirl, the Ninja Turtles, and Batman and the Bat family, so it's fun. I think Nightwing also makes an appearance in this as well. Okay. Batman, can you hear me? We need your help. I can't. Gotham, This is a big one. It's the Joker. What's the matter, Dark Knight? Detective? No final words? Yes? Do speak up. Thanks, Ewan. Yes, I love April. She's a big inspiration to me. You know, telling the truth, anchoring in this timeline. I usually have a little mic. We'll see if she's featured sometime soon on the radio show. You're no Joker. Rah! Stop that! Stop what you're doing! Get back! Keep back, or I'll pant. And then the turtles look at, because they're in like, it's the fear gas, right? So they're seeing a very distorted view. Good night, Lukimi. Thank you so much for that. For the gifts, and I'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Okay, come on, Small Wonder. Watch what you're doing already. Those are highly volatile chemicals you're manhandling, or is it robot handling? Robot man handling? Hey, don't you walk away when I'm talking to you. Or talking at you. Harley Quinn. I have always a tough time doing Harley Quinn dialogue because I know she has a certain voice and I can't. Here, maybe if I take a sip of water, I'll try again and do it. Because the voice actress of Harley Quinn is iconic in the animation, right? Try it again. Puddin'. Let's try again. Come on, Small Wonder, watch what you're doing already. Those are highly volatile chemicals you're manhandling. Or is it robot handling? Robot man handling? Hey, don't you walk away when I'm talking at you. Why, I have a good mind to. Your mind is a lot of things, Harley, but good is not one of them. Ugh. Batgirl, am I glad to see you, Red? Things have gotten out of hand, even for me. You don't know what he's planning. Here, see for yourself. What he's doing, it's just just monstrous. And she's happy about it. Bud and Lou. They kind of remind me like Bebop and Rocksteady. I'm not quite sure what her accent is, Ewan. If it's Boston or New York. I don't know if any registered user, do you know if it's Boston or New York? I forget. I'm going to look up her name. Harley Quinn's voice actress name. Because I've worked with voice actresses and voice actors before in like a past life when I used to do animations for like Cells, and I'll explain that another time. But it's so cool how the voice actors, they'll have like a talking voice and then they'll go behind the booth and it's like they'll completely transform. It's Tara Strong. Yes, Tara Strong. Yes. And like Harleen Quinzel was a brilliant and successful criminal psychiatrist. After encountering the criminal mastermind, the Joker, at Arkham Asylum, Harleen develops a fascination with the madman's maniacal psyche. She begins to treat him only to find herself completely under the Joker's control. Yeah, so it's a very definition of like a very abusive psychological relationship. Yeah, they kind of remind me of Bebop and Rocksteady, but they're not. But I'm going to call them that in my mind mentally. But yeah, she's like, he's got something completely monstrous planned. Get it? We put the gas in peanut brittle jars and send them to old folks' homes all over the city. And when unsuspecting Eunice opens up her sweet treat, everybody smiles. Why not just pollute the water supply? Or why do I do anything, really? Uh-oh, is that the same bat time already? That's strange. I don't remember ordering shellfish. Whump. And then we got Batgirl and April O'Neil kicking down the door, kicking down the way. I love it. Back up. Always in. Your besties coming through for you guys. We should get out of here, or we should get out there and bust some. Oh, I think Bebop and Rocksteady are there. It's not those other guys. And he says, no, that clown makes mockery of the foot. This fight belonged to him. Along. Oh, thank you, a registered user. Thanks for that. We're here. You hold on. Oh, we're here. Are you on your way? I can be. Michelangelo volunteered to stay back and watch the portals. Michelangelo's like, yeah, I'll stay and watch the portals. I got snacks. I'm good. I can be. Michelangelo volunteered to stay back and watch the portals. So I volunteered to stay back and watch him. And I think I made the right choice. We'll make do. How? I'm going to rally the troops. I'm headed down there, and I need your help. It's already too late. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're seeing, it isn't real. I've dealt with the Scarecrow's fear gas before, too many times. It's all just chemicals reacting with your brain. But that man down there, that clown, he is very, very real. And he is worse than anything in your head. You have two options. See the world how the Scarecrow wants you to, or stop it from becoming that way. I have made my choice. Nice pep talk, Batman. Ha! Thwack! Thump! And so Batgirl has kind of saved Donatello, and Donatello is like, oh wow, like, hey, thanks. You would have done the same for me. And then Batman is like up against one of like, I don't know, like a pig, I guess. I can't do this, man. I can't do this. You heard him, Raph. None of what we're seeing is real. We're ninja trained by the best of the best. Think of Master Splinter. Think of what he taught us. He could see through this in a second. Ugh. And if he could, then so could we. Splinter. And so they finally harness, feel past their fear, and red light. Hey Ma, look at me. Now, I didn't know you were coming, Batsy, so I only have a tiny bit of the old Joker gas to share. It's not much, just enough to fill the room and make a mockery of Clang. Oh, I'll accept. Hey, how's it going?
Are you reading books all by yourself?
No, I have people here with me. I have people here. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm actually reading a crossover. You're in this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You've just given a pep talk to the turtles saying that you have to go work past your fear because they haven't dealt with the scare. We do match. Do you realize we match? Did we plan? Did you plan this?
No. Nope.
That's kind of funny. Oh my gosh. What are you reading?
Oh, I was just picking this up because I had cat in a box. Uh-oh.
You can't just keep that to yourself, Yellow bat. Is this the suit that you were talking about last time?
Yeah, I decided without a cape this time though.
What are you reading? Which book is that?
It's Soul Stealer.
Oh, I love that cover. That cover looks sick. Like that cat. I love it.
I got the first 3 books of this series.
Is it good? Do you like it?
I don't know.
You don't.
I haven't started yet. I'm just clicking the book.
It's so funny when I read comics. Sometimes I'll have read it before, but then when I read it live, I'm like, I don't remember this happening. Did I read this? I don't get. Did I skip it? But we're at the point right now where have you ever read any of the crossovers between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman?
Some of them, yeah.
So this one, the Joker is basically bringing his Joker gas to take over New York City. And then the Scarecrow is coming over to... Wait. Or is that the other way around? I forget. But there's portals open, but they split up. So we've got the Turtles having fear gas, and then also them fighting the Foot Clan from Krang. If you remember.
Fun.
Yeah, it's good. It's good times. I wanted to read something lighter because I had finished The Killing Jokes, and I hadn't actually read that comic book in a while. And it's a really heavy read, especially what happens to Barbara. And I just so I'm wearing yellow also in her honor because I was like, I need something lighter to read tonight because that was just, it's tough. Sorry, Batman.
I have wait, where is that one? That would have been fun. I can remember where it is. I have one of the 66 comics.
That's cool. Why are you yelling yellow? I think he's wearing yellow Batman because that's a type of suit. What suit is that, though? Can you explain to the viewers which suit?
So it's the deep dive suit from the 89 run of